Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
So what will the planets be doing in 2023, and how are they going to be influencing us and guiding us? And join me and Mary Dalba for the last show of the year. And we're going to talk about the planets' progressions in 2023. And mostly, I'm just so happy to have Mary back. Welcome back, Mary.
Hi, thank you for having me, Nance. I'm so happy to be back.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like been, I miss you a lot, but we're gonna rock and roll with some astrology stuff. I'll have to have you back on some other stuff for every reason, but I couldn't resist. Like,
well,
it's
thank
the end
you.
of the year. What's going to happen next year? I think I was looking forward to the monthly shows more than anybody else.
No, they were so fun. They're so fun. So let's see what 2023 brings us. You never know. So, astrology has been interesting this year. I think we've all kind of gone through some ups and downs. I think there's been a lot of, going underneath and digging the things that we need to face. But I think that what's happening there is that we're just having situations arise that we have to deal with, or if we, put our head in the sand, it's going to come back later anyway. So I think that's a lot of our learnings this year. I'm not sure if 2023 is going to let up on that. I'll be honest with y'all, but at least, yeah, I mean, it will give us some breathing room, but there's still, just spiritually. And I don't know, Nance, I know you tune in a lot. But like, this next year and in 2024, it's all of this. How are we elevating ourselves and what are we doing? And I think it's really made us go within in order to be able to take care of the world the way we need to. It's like we're shrinking back to like go forward. I don't know. I feel like there's somebody who steps back to go forward. And I that's what I feel like we're doing. So we still got some work to do.
We do.
It's up to us. Yeah.
I've always seen 23, 24, 25 as being the big pivoting years. We've been talking about changes coming. And I think it's going to be this year, it's 23, end of 23, especially, and then 24. Do you see that in the astrology? That's just an intuitive hit I got, but I was curious.
Yeah, Pluto is this slow moving planet. And that's what's really shaking everything up, because it's the planet of regeneration, it's death, rebirth, it's going into the hidden, it's touching all those buttons that are painful. For those who are spiritually inclined, you have the folks who do the shadow work. Like that's really where Pluto is comfortable, in the darkness and what is hidden. So that's really what's kind of the theme that's rolling through this time frame right now, why there's happening this death and rebirth. We're having all these little deaths, but then there's been some big deaths too, just and how we look at the world and things like that. So death can be situational, I think. And so yeah, we're going to have some more Pluto happening in 2023, some movement there, but there's some other stuff we're just going to have to juggle. I would say to everybody, I would look at 2023 as something that's continuing to show what our strengths are. Like, so we're going to be handed these challenges, and then it's how we handle them and what kind of value we put on the challenges. So like, if we decide to, take everything that comes in at us is this terrible thing, and just kind of look at the negative side of it all the time, I think we're going to have a harder time than someone who looks at something and goes, all right, here's all the positive things that have come out of it. It stinks, but I'm going to keep moving forward. I think those folks are going to have a much better time. So whatever challenges are coming up in front of you, I mean, they are blessings to help you become stronger. And I know we're all like, I'm strong enough, but there's more work to do, guys. That's why we're here. So
yeah, well, I think we are here to work, but do have fun.
I'm
sure it's fun. And I I do this Akashic reading, your life uh, in your Akashic records the next year, but I start with what you learned this year, and then I break down into 4 quarters and just use fun little angels and inspirational cards. And there's been a trend to go within. Um, God, what so many repeaters. It's like change. Everyone is reading is getting change. But the change to not try to change your life from the outside, because it's going to be changing anyway. Go
Right.
inside, like you said, find your strengths, and those strengths are within your heart and what your beliefs are. And if your beliefs aren't working for you, where do they come from? And switching them up.
Exactly.
But are they sabotaging you, or are they helping you, kind of thing? But
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Pluto is friendly. That's the Pluto
Mm.
work.
That's Pluto work. Yeah, because it's a slow
Yeah.
moving planet. So it's like digging in, it's not going to be a fast fix. We got to dig in and dig in and dig
Yeah.
in. It's funny. And that's some of the work I notice just reading my clients. What they're looking for is what's the pain points, like what are the things. And so I love that you also do the Akashic Records reading, Nancy, because you can really see the stuff that's like generational.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Familial, like all of those things that people carry, like you can see them and people can make changes to them. So valuable, that Akashic Records reading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
totally.
yeah, we did when we pulled that Akashic Records with the astrology work
Mm,
together, it was like,
yes.
wow. And I still want to keep doing that. I swear
Yeah.
I want to say, go see Mary and then come, we'll do some Akashic and then go back to where is your planet in
Right?
yeah, yeah,
Yes, you need your
yeah,
spiritual team, y'all. You need your spiritual
yeah.
team.
So
Um,
where's the expansion? Where's where's the parties?
well,
It's
so first, I just want to talk about, we're going to have some Jupiter party stuff coming up, so don't worry.
okay.
But we need to start off the end of the year with Mercury retrograde, y'all. I feel like every time I come and talk to you, Nancy, I'm like, hey, it's Mercury retrograde.
I
But
know.
seriously, it is starting on the 29th. It goes
Mm,
through to January 18th. Um, it is in Capricorn. So let's talk a little bit quickly about Mercury. Mercury is a planet of communications and travel,
mhm,
commerce, shopping, um, mechanical things, airplanes, cars, anything of our computers, our phones, all of that, right? When Mercury goes retrograde, because it does it so often, because it does it 3 or 4 times a year, it affects our lives. And I know people like, "Ah, it's not Mercury retrograde, it's just," and it's like, Mercury might have had a little fun with us in that realm of if something happens or something delays us or comes up. So when Mercury is in retrograde, most important thing to remember, even if you don't know what sign it's in, um, Mercury is going to have you slow down. If you are traveling, you need to double check plans. If you are shopping, you need to make sure you give yourself plenty of time to find the thing that you're looking for. If you're like you haven't backed up your photos or things for in a while on your laptop, you want to do that. Like it's all of these, like be prepared and be ready to be flexible. Okay, so
mhm,
we have that. When you put it in a sign, it gives it that flavor. So or it gives it kind of like the energy it's carrying forward. It's in Capricorn. Capricorn is very earthy, very practical. Give me the information. Don't come out like fantasy land. I don't want to hear about your feelings. That's really where, I
That's what
mean,
I do.
I love
Just
our
wanna know the facts.
Capricorns, but I don't want to hear about your feelings. And it's sort of going to pull back reality for us, which is good because sometimes we need that like little reality check about like what we're dealing with. So for example, your car finally ends up in the shop for the third time in Mercury retrograde. Okay, maybe we got to do something about that. Like maybe I need to,
Right.
take it to another mechanic, whatever it is, buy a new car, whatever. So it's taking the rose colored glasses off or what we don't want to see, and
Mhm,
is like,
mhm,
this is the sobering reality, folks.
mhm.
You got to fix this or you got to
Yeah.
change this. There will also be very careful because it is in Capricorn in your work. Because so double check emails, make sure there isn't anybody on there that you don't want on there, kind of thing. Because you could write something that you maybe shouldn't, or
Didn't
you
mean
put
to
someone on an email
copy
that you
her on this.
right, right. So that's a big thing too. It'll affect like career and what's happening there. Some folks may say, it's time for me to go for that promotion, or maybe I need to leave the company, or anything like that. That's gonna come up too. But that's where the written word and everything you do communicating that is going to be really important.
Good,
So
good to
that's
know.
like the the first thing. Um, and you know, Mercury retrograde, like I said, happens 3 or 4 times a year. This is one of those things that if you can just kind of roll with it, give yourself extra time if you're driving somewhere. Don't necessarily rely on your ways. You know, just be prepared. Have your plan B ready. So yeah, I don't know how you feel about Mercury retrograde, Nance.
It's different. It's a different flavor every time, like you said, depending on where you are. Last year, well, we had 5 planets in retrograde, but and they were all
Mhm,
turning me upside down. But it does make me slow down. It's
mm,
and the stuff in my office, the computer or the whatever. I can't wear watches, Mercury retrograde, because
mhm.
my watches will stop running. Then so Fitbit
Yeah.
died one Mercury retrograde, and that was it.
Mhm,
I'm done with it. But the slowing down and this one, here's the thing. Right now in December, I'm flipping my business. There's something going on that's not working. And I'm doing so it was fine because there's also things that I really wish I was doing instead of it's a long story. But the
I
fact
get
that
it.
Mercury in retrograde is in Capricorn, which is business, and it
Mhm.
just is telling me, yeah, you've got to take a look at this, not just
Yeah.
think about taking a look at this. And so that's what Mercury retrogrades. They don't scare
Mm,
me as much as, oh, here we go. Be
yeah.
careful, slow down. It's going to be awkward.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, it's like how you accept those challenges. So we know Mercury
Right.
retrogrades here. Okay, we'll give ourselves extra time or do what we need to do. So that's how you just roll with it,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
So
it's a teacher, it's a communicator. And each don't, I mean, we're Sagittarius. We blast through life. We've got too much to do and we're always in a hurry. And I think
it's
it's
true.
Mercury retrograde could be our friend.
It can be. It can be if we remember to slow down. It's like I'll
Right.
get 3 or 4 days into Mercury retrograde and I'll stop bumping into obstacles and I'm like, oh right, I gotta slow down. Right. I got the reminder, but I'll run right into head
Yeah.
first into it for the first few days, and then I'll realize, oh right, I can't do that.
Now,
It's not
you
gonna.
said many times the Mercury retrograde people show up from your past. And I was just
Mhm.
wondering if it's in Capricorn, would people show up from your, past jobs
Yep.
or people that you did business with early, before?
Yeah.
That'd be
Absolutely.
really,
Yeah. So it could be, you get a call from an old boss or an old company. Something comes up about that. Yeah. So it's interesting because I think now, side note, I'm going off on the side note, that how people are finding jobs or dealing with companies these days are getting different. So this could also be a time if you're looking for work or you're looking for other business that you take some time to sit down and say, what is
mhm.
really, the end goal for my life purpose and my life work. I'd
Yeah.
approach it that way.
Your
And if you're
mission statement,
your mission statement, yeah,
where
because
you're mushrooming out and going off and you're not getting any return on your investment.
right.
Hold on a minute.
Mhm.
That's what I was talking about. I need to really kind of take a look at how many rabbit holes I've gone down. And then I realized, oh, and then
Yeah.
Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. I better take a look at those rabbit holes
Yeah.
because they're not making me, there's no cheese down those rabbit holes.
No, no. So, and we evolve as we
Yeah.
spiritually evolve.
Yeah.
So we evolve, our
Yeah.
services
Yeah.
do too, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's all about Mercury and Capricorn. Sorry to start out on that, guys, for folks who are watching. Um, but figured you all want to know since we're talking tonight. All right. And then like the one of the big things that's happening right at the beginning of the years is Mars retrograde ends. So if you've noticed the past few months, um, it's been
Hmm. She'll come back. Hang in, guys. She'll be
something
back.
or
There's,
follow up with people or it's right. Right. Yeah. So Mars retrograde going direct is what we call it. That happens on January 12th.
yeah.
It'll get our like movement going further. Now we're going to kind of cross over between Mercury retrograde and Mars going direct. So it may be like there's some last little fits and starts, or you're trying to connect with somebody and you're having problems with it to get things moving. Just have patience that week, January 12th to January 18th. After the 18th, you'll really be flying. But that's the thing. Like, so Mars has had us look at how we do things. I know for me, I've looked at how and I know this is going to sound weird, but like just being organized for me can be a challenge a little bit as a Sag. And so like I'm like putting things in place where I go, all right, this is where I'm putting my keys down
Mhm.
every day, or this is where I'm putting my keys when I get into the car, so I can just grab them quickly. Like I'm starting to get routines in place.
Yeah.
But I haven't like really launched everything I want to launch. And so that's how, for me, Mars retrograde made me look at things like, all right, what I'm doing is not working, but launching it's taking a little extra time. So
Mhm.
that's how
Yeah.
it got created for me. And it
Yeah.
is in Gemini, so it is looking and doing research. And so if you find yourself on the Google machine a lot, that's what, that's why, because it is in the sign of Gemini. Um, Also be careful because I like to tell you everything. You may come out of this before January 12th, um, where like there's a misunderstanding or there's like an argument at times when you wouldn't necessarily argue with this person, like flare-ups of temper, I'll call it.
Mhm.
So you may find that in January that there's a flare-up of a temper. If it's not something that usually happens, you may want to revisit that because it could be Mars retrograde bringing something out, even a misunderstanding that you're getting
Mm.
kind of grumpy about. That's a big one
Gotcha.
too. Like to tell you everything. So hold the tongue. I've been telling people lately too. This is the other thing. I've been like, step back from it for a second. Because if you shoot off your mouth, sometimes we say things we
Oh.
can't take back. So I'm like, step back for a second. Let's figure out what's
Mm.
what's the root of this.
And
Why
Mars
is
is
this?
the planet of war before you go to war.
Action, yes, but also
Yeah.
war. Yes,
So
you're
go
absolutely
back
right.
and say a little bit. You blipped out for a tiny bit. You were
Oh,
saying
sorry.
what Mars has been doing in the past few months. You may have found, and then we lost you for 2 seconds.
Oh,
What what would we have found in the past few months? What were you looking at, for
um,
instance?
so it was one of those things around trying to make sure that like I was getting myself kind of in this place of organization.
Mhm.
Sagittarians, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
Nance. I don't want to speak for you, but I am definitely
Oh,
like
yeah. Done been a
stacks of
mess.
books
Yeah.
and stuff,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm getting into this routine where I'm saying I'm putting things in certain places so I know they're
Mhm.
always there. Like I'm creating these routines. Do I have them all in place yet? No, but I think once Mars goes direct, I'll be running with it. So
So
yeah.
Mars may just did it slow you down, or did it just trip out? Were you tripping over things more? Did it
Yeah,
help
it
you at
was
any event?
to me, it was like, what actions do I need to take to make things work for me better?
Yeah.
Like more efficiently, things like that. And I'm like, all right, well, I
Right.
spent an more amount of time looking for my keys in my purse. Doesn't work in there. Bought a hook, put the
Right.
keys on the hook. It's like now I know where they are every day. I don't
Oh,
have to dig through my
perfect.
purse, which I know sounds weird. That's a little thing, but I have
Oh, that's a
spent, if you
huge thing. That's a
guys have
big
ever seen
thing.
my
Yeah.
bags,
Yeah.
right?
Well, for
So,
all of us, I mean, yes, I do. I actually had designed, I picked a bag out of my closet, and I knew the keys were always going to go in that one skinny front
mm,
pocket because I was going up. And
mhm,
you can't start your car if you don't have it's like one of those remote starters, so you don't have to
yes.
have it in your hand. And oh my God, I was losing it. Anyway, yeah.
Yep.
So, but I totally rearranged my workspace
Mm,
so that and I had help. I had a lot of help doing it because I was having trouble organizing my workspace.
mm.
So I had somebody come in and help watch me work and watch me do the flow and trip over everything and say, well, you know what, if you move this over here and you move over there, and I don't have a screen behind me anymore hiding a mess. I have an organized. So that was Mars,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, because it had you revisit a place that needed some action, attention, work,
yeah,
things like that. So that brought you to a place to get you moving forward in your career and all that. So it's,
yeah,
yeah, and how you communicate, which is part of it is your computer and the podcasts and things like that. So
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So that'll go through March 25th. That'll stay in the sign of Gemini. Then it'll go into Cancer, and we can talk about that then. But so you have a few months to like get things moving. And if there's people you want to contact, if there's things that you want to do, plans you want to make, trips you want to book, any of
Right.
that, this is the time to research and do that because Mars is giving you that fire to move forward.
Let's go place. I was
Mm,
just looking at some comments here.
mhm.
Gail's listening to us. She goes, I'm taking notes. It's like,
That's awesome.
and but I actually had a question. I've been curious. One of
Yeah.
the other intuitive hits that I've had for a number of years now is money and economics were going to shift and change. And I'm not calling in
Mm,
a problem. I'm just seeing a shift of change in organization
mhm.
in the economic systems. And I was curious to know, do you see that for
Yeah.
2023 in the planets?
Yeah. I mean, I think Pluto is part of it.
Mm.
Um, because Pluto can focus on like technology and, um, think, like I said, things that we hide or we save or we,
Right.
all that stuff.
Right.
So I definitely think that's going to happen in March. I was just going to talk about Saturn and Aquarius. I swear to God, everybody, we didn't plan this. So I'm sorry, Saturn and okay, Saturn going into Pisces. It's in Aquarius
Oh,
right now. So if you're noticing it from a financial standpoint, this is coming from Saturn creating those restrictions, boundaries, systems.
mhm.
Okay. So with it moving into the sign of Pisces, it's it's more of people coming in and saying, we have this structure, but we need to be more fluid with it, or it's just not working in the way it did before. So Saturn still wants to keep things in a certain way, but Pisces is saying, why don't we look at it a little bit differently?
Okay. Yeah.
Ways to deal with things financially, different ways to deal with things. Wherever there's a place for change, I think Saturn, it's going to be looked at with Pisces, watery, like not emotional, but kind of eyes.
Okay.
So people are going to be definitely be more creative. We could find that, things are changed because of, how can I say it? Scandal. Pisces is sex, drugs, rock and roll, escapism, all that kind of stuff. So we may find something gets dug up on somebody that, um, did
Wait,
something financially where now a law gets
isn't that already
changed.
happening? Is this is
Yeah,
this
I
is
know.
this just a continuation of what we've been
Right.
watching?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So yeah, there's more to be dug up there. Or
Really?
because it's in an emotional sign of Pisces, we may see that it's going to hit someone from an emotional standpoint, like a family member finally says something, or you see what I mean? Or they have
Mhm.
loose lips because they are talking to someone they think they should trust and they shouldn't.
Yeah, they
So
should.
there's, yeah, or they have a,
Yeah.
a spiritual awakening. That's another one where they say, I have to repent.
Well,
So
Pisces is there is a spiritual aspect to Pisces.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So it's, very like ethereal, it's very angelic,
Mm,
but it's how you get there, because Pisces is about escape, but you can have creative escape, or you can have, I call it sex, drugs, rock and roll escape. So yeah. So it's
right.
it's there's room for change right now. I think it's great because we're seeing systems start to change. And I know, I'm sure some we can say was, yeah, some systems are saying the same, but they can't sit like that. They can't sit in the way they've
Mhm.
sat before. It's just there's too much driving at these systems to knock them down and to create new ones. So that's the thing I think people need to remember. It's not that people don't want systems. They just
Mhm.
want maybe something different in that system.
Yeah.
See?
I see. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
that here's the housing market as a system.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that went 22 was just insane. And it just
Crazy.
kaboom.
Mhm.
Um and it's a shortage of housing, and there's a lot of I really thought we were going to come in to 22 with a dip in the housing market, but it just blew up. So I can't
Yeah.
I don't know. But will we see if the pendulum swing the other way, do you think, in 23, or do you think we're still going
I
to have some more of the same?
I think we're gonna have to see, it will swing, but I think it's because someone finally says, that cries mercy and says we have to figure out this housing problem. I mean, I know I
Mm.
saw an article in the Globe. Side note, I saw an article in the Globe, something about the houses in Boston that have sold for over $10 million and up, right?
And
Mm, right. I'm
you're
gonna go
not
check
even
my couch cushions and see if I have 10 million sitting in there, see how it does. See
I
how it
know.
goes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, but anyway, so yeah, housing market's a little crazy. And so I think that's what happens is there's someone comes in and says, this is how we need to solve it. This is the way that we
Mm.
need to work on these programs for folks, or, just to create, affordable housing. I mean, it's
Oh,
out
I
of
know.
control.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this Saturn moving into Pisces is going to be some of that like creative ways of doing things. It'll be interesting to see when it goes against the old establishment, how that is.
Yeah.
I also think it'll be addressed. I'm going to talk about Jupiter soon too. And Jupiter is moving into the sign of Taurus, which is all about the money that's coming up. So I think that's part of where it's going to change also. So we'll see
Okay.
it progressing through
Yeah.
this year.
I want to take
But
just a real quick second and just
yeah,
remind everybody, Mary Dalba is marydalba.com. And you can find her Mary Dalba on Facebook, Instagram. So you've really branded your name really well. So she's not hard to find. Just Google her. And you do astrology, you do mediumship, you do coaching. You call it Gloom to Bloom. I love
yeah.
that program. And Mary has I so many things, so many tools in your toolbox. I really recommend you look her up and see if there's anything that you'd like to hire her to help you do. So there's your, I just, before
Thank you.
anybody hangs up, they know who you are and where to find you.
Oh, thank you,
But,
Nancy. I appreciate that.
yeah.
Okay, so we left off with Saturn in Pisces. Now I'm going to talk about Pluto and Aquarius. So we talked about Pluto, associated with power and secrets, mystery, death, money. So it's going to enter the sign of Aquarius on March 23rd, and it's going to bring in that energy from Aquarius. So Aquarius, again, focuses on innovation, technology, um, actually engineering, all the kind of electrical things that are out there. I just love it. It's innovation. It's the rebel
Inventions, cool.
inventions.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. So with Pluto, it's like, well, what is really like coming from underneath? Like, what could we do to make something different? What is the way we can find out information? And people, I'll say it this way, if they have information from a technology standpoint, I think some things are going to start to come out about how technology has been used in different ways. And so, how people have maybe hacked into systems or have been,
Yeah.
just maybe like, even something as simple, which I shouldn't say it's simple, but something is like ad information, like how our information is being used, that
Oh
could
gosh,
be
that's,
unearthed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I've been having a lot of questions around the social media and what are the,
yeah.
algorithms are tricky
Mhm.
things. So
So
maybe
I mean,
that'll show up. Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
Mm.
it's stuff like, and again, I know that it's coming out right now, folks, but I also think with Pluto and Aquarius, it's going to be okay. This stuff comes out, but we have to do something different now. We have to bring something different in. So Aquarius, we think about the Age of Aquarius song. For those of you who are old enough, I think it was the Fifth Dimension was the ones that sang that song.
The
But anyway,
dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Aquarius, it's
Peace and
all
love and understanding.
right. So that's what we're trying to bring through with technology. So it could be that, these social media sites, there's more good news than not so good news. So fingers crossed, but we're going to see what happens with that. And here's the thing, with it being with wealth and power,
Mhm.
and we're coming into the Pluto return of the United States. Yeah. So we're seeing shakeups in all of those power structures. Think about what's out there right now, talking about different things with the election. I don't care where you land on it. You land wherever you land. But I mean, like it's
Okay.
talking about the election, and it's talking about elections in, your state. It's looking at how information is stored. I mean, there's so much connected to power and wealth. And so things are just going to continue to come out about it. And I think, again, in the United States, we're going to have to look at how we handle things, as community, as Americans. So yeah, it's going to be some things that we're all going to have to think about where we land on issues. um so something to think about. Where do you
Yeah.
stand? Where do you want to stand for, the people you love and what you believe in? So it's going to be big. It's going to be, so we're definitely going within. We definitely are. And
Mhm.
looking at what's important to us, not only just individually, but globally. That's what Pluto and Aquarius does. So we think big
Think big.
with that, but we think big, like from a global perspective. We want to help our fellow person. If it was Pluto and Sagittarius, we'd be thinking big, just like big adventures, big, not that we don't want to help the world,
Gotcha.
but Aquarius is more about the groups, the collective. Sagittarius is
Okay.
like, how do I get more spiritual?
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay. So Aquarius is making us help each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing. So we have that Pluto piece happening. We have Saturn with creating flexible boundaries. Jupiter then enters Taurus May 16th. So I like Jupiter and Taurus because Taurus is a money sign. So Taurus likes to make money, likes their finer things, likes eating well, drinking well, admiring art. They like, think about Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. She's
Oh,
very
yeah.
sensual and very, she can only have the finer things. So when Jupiter is there, it's expanding and wanting to expand our abundance and our money and our finer things. So now, if you're having financial problems, that may sound a little far-fetched, but it may be just getting you in a place where you feel more comfortable, you're happier with your money. It's really, it can also make you spend more, so just be careful, or make you hoard money. But really what it's trying to do, if you handle it in a healthy way, it's just going to create more abundance, because you're going to be grounded in what you're receiving for abundance, for that money, for that wealth, whatever it is, or job.
Yeah. Maybe
So you're grounded. Yeah.
get a
So
raise or
it's,
something. Yeah.
yeah. And I would think when you mentioned the housing market, I think with Jupiter entering Taurus, Taurus is about your living space, your home, but the physical home. So it could be that we are looking at the housing market and what's been happening with it, but especially at that point, because people are going to say, like, we want to create more housing, and things that people can afford, because we want to create
Right.
abundance for everyone. Jupiter wants it to be big and loud. So yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you, here's the other one that you know, and I think this is the last like big one for everyone to know about is Venus is retrograde, guys. This year, Venus goes retrograde in Leo, and that happens on July
In Leo?
22nd in
July
Leo.
22nd.
I love
Venus
your
retrograde.
reaction. You're like,
Leo.
you're like, in Leo? Yes, in Leo.
Yes.
Mm.
Do I want to say narcissists unite or what's going on? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, that was great. But well, it could be having us look at where our narcissism is in ourselves. Yeah. Because we all got some of it, let's be honest. But and so you don't have to worry about it until July, July 22nd. It goes through September 3rd. Here's the big thing about Venus retrograde. People who want to get married or engaged during that time, I would not recommend it. It's not going to turn out the way that you want it to. Not just the engagement, like, so if you plan this big thing, because Venus retrograde in Leo, you're going to want to do something big. It might not work out the way you wanted to. And then on top of that, your marriage or your divorce may be very public. So I would say, I think there could be some flickers of narcissism here. So I think you're absolutely right, Nance. But I think it's also just turning in to look at ourselves and what makes us feel good from a tactile standpoint. And that can be relationships. It can be, like how you feel your home is, like the things like that. But you got to be careful on the love stuff. And during Venus retrograde, you may be revisiting love things. It doesn't necessarily mean someone's coming back, and that could mean it, but you may be revisiting, like you start dating and you're like, all right, I'm picking the same people. Let me stop and take a look at what that is. See what I mean?
Or you start repeating an old pattern in a new relationship or established, or just stuff comes up. But Leo to me is the sun coming out. It's a lot about the solar plexus. It's a lot about identity and identity of self. And how do you love yourself, or how do you not love yourself? Taking a look at that maybe in that time.
Yeah. I mean, it may be that you have to step back from, relationships, or even if you're in a relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean breakup. It just may be like, okay, what something's happening here. Let's take a minute to see what's happening with me. How am I contributing to it? Do you know what I mean? It could be really like talking about the pink elephant in the room, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, it clears things, but maybe the pink elephant is something that could push you over the edge, and let's hope not. But it also could be something that you work out and everything's fine.
Or needed to be talked about, several months ago, but the energy is bringing it up to kind of push you to do it. But talking about something, I feel like I want to chill pill it, you could, something's coming up and you're going to talk about it. You got to work it out, and you didn't really want to work it out. You're trying really hard not to face it, but then you're facing it. Calm down, stay calm. And it's not about you. It's not about them. It's about, there's a formula in a love itty relationship. It's 1 + 1 and it equals 3. There's a third energy that you guys create together, whether it's a friendship, a working relationship, or a loving relationship. And what is it that you're creating together? And maybe what you're creating together is not so good. So you got to decide what elements you want to put in to that relationship to change up the flavor. That's
Yeah.
just my 2 cents, but yeah.
Oh no, I think that's
Yeah.
great. It's great. When things go retrograde, we get nervous about it because it's like, oh my God, something's gonna go wrong. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's gonna go wrong. It's just we're paying extra attention to it. So we're paying
Yeah.
extra attention to our relationships with Venus in retrograde because we want to make sure that they're healthy. And if issues have to come up, then that's a time they're going to come up. But it may be in a dramatic way with it being in Leo. I'll just say that. So just know.
Maybe
be in a
don't take it
dramatic
so
way.
personal, but it's going to be dramatic.
It's gonna be dramatic. Yeah, in Leo. So that could be just something to remember. Like, walk away if it starts happening where someone's saying something to you in public. Like, nope, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna do a celebrity kind of thing here. I'm just going away,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so
So
2022, we have how many planets? 5 major
5.
planets went retrograde. Are we going to
Mhm.
see that in 23 or
Yeah,
maybe not so
yeah.
much?
I don't think it's gonna be. Oh, Gail just said she's a Leo. Ah.
Oh, Gail.
So for you, Gail, I'll just tell you a side note. It's your Venus will be in your same place as your sun sign. So
Yeah.
depending on where your sun sign is in your chart, it's going to highlight that area. But I think for you, especially, you're going to look into, the things that you love, especially during that, turn of the sun, as they say. So it'll be a really interesting time because I think for you, even you'll go deeper about the things you love about yourself and the things you
Yeah.
love about your life. So it's going to be even a little bit of a deeper journey for you. So yeah, that's the thing, like knowing what your chart looks like. Oh, Susan just said she's a Leo too.
Leo too.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Venus is going to be like tapping you on the shoulder to look at things in your life. And this, oh, by the way, this could also be a time that you decide that you want to change your wardrobe or your hair or whatever.
Oh.
Unless you've experienced that before. Like, in other words, here's an example. At one point, I had red hair. You guys have seen me. I was on the podcast
Yeah.
with Answer Red Hair
Okay.
for a while. And I've explored that before. If during Venus retrograde, I said, I need a change. I think I want to go back to red. That's okay. All right. If you decide all of a sudden you want to change your appearance, haven't thought about it before, it's during Venus retrograde, I would not recommend doing it because you're going to come out as Venus retrograde and go, I don't know if I like that as much.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
Don't shave your head in Venus
Right.
retrograde.
yeah. Don't do like whatever bob crazy sleek cuts happening right now. Just wait until after it's over. Just because, unless, like I said, unless you've looked at it before, like again, me with my red hair, I've had red hair. If I go back to it during that time, I'm okay. Just nothing really new as far as, like
Thank
you
you,
want to try
Gail.
something out,
Yeah.
fine, but nothing too dramatic. That's a way to say it. So yeah. So, I don't want people being like, oh, cool. I can look at myself and with Venus and all the things, the finer things, and maybe I'll cut my hair. Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I've done stuff like that where I would see it, a model, or I would see it done, or somebody else does it, and I just think, oh, that is so cool. And I don't think for more than 2 minutes, and then whoa, that's not good on me. It's like, what did I do?
Yeah.
But there's
I had a discussion like that with my hairdresser recently where I said, I think I want to do bangs. And she said, I will not do bangs on you. Because every time I do bangs on you, you hate them. And then you see some kind of thing in a magazine where it looked cute on someone. I am not cutting bangs on you. She's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I did see that. I'm like, yeah, I did see that. She's like, right, I am not cutting. She goes, we'll get you. Do you know they have the little bang wigs?
Oh, they do.
They do. You can clip them on and you can. So I just said, okay, I'll do that.
I just go get the bag. That's a great idea.
But I can imagine me saying that to her when I go next year. I'll have to think about it, but she'll be like, nope, you're not getting bangs. So yes, be very careful during that time. So that's the big stuff next year. We've got Mercury retrogrades. It'll happen around the holiday season in December at the end of 2023. But, we're all pros at handling Mercury retrogrades. So it'll be fine. Yeah. But those are some of the big stuff. So we're going to see things globally. I mean, personally too, but we're going to see more globally. And I think we need to pay attention to it because it's going to be how we react to our own communities with what we're seeing globally is what's going to make the difference for us. And I know that
Okay.
sounds really heavy, and I don't mean it to sound heavy. It's just we just got to take care of each other. So we'll see more of that. What our responsibility is in that next year. Into who?
Do you have any inclination on world peace or war going on? Is Mars doing anything interesting, or where
You know,
we?
Mars retrograde, I think, has shaken up a bit of how people are interacting with each other. I mean, we had a hostage negotiation that was successful, luckily. Um, but I think it's making us look at the way that we're handling
Mhm.
just everything around that war, prisoners, just everything. So
Yeah.
I mean, there could be flare-ups. You know, we may see, I hate to say, we may see some more action in the Ukraine, which is terrible. But we're going to keep looking at that. Like our focus is going to be on how are we handling that? Um and what are we doing about it? So yeah, it stirs things up that have already been stirred up, and we know
Mhm.
that that situation's been going on for a while, and you know,
Right. Be nice if they could just come to a peaceful ending, but you never know.
yeah. But oh,
You there?
I'm back. I'm
Yeah,
back.
you're
I'm here.
back.
I saw it. I saw it happen on my phone. I went, "Oh, I'm frozen."
Yeah, but you
I'll
came
just
back.
wait.
I just say,
So
hang in there, guys. She's coming back. Just give it a minute.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
y'all. I'm sorry. Oh, um, so we were talking about the stir up of things. Yeah, things will be stirred up. I think but it's things that we're always dealing with. It's old things that'll just be stirred up. I don't think
Okay.
anything quite new is gonna come out of that, but just, oh, they're at it again kind of thing. So
So sad. Yeah.
I know. Terrible. It would be nice if we had world peace. I think a lot of it is we're getting faced with that. What are we doing for that? I do.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of issues on the table that
Mhm.
just that one war brought up, but I mean, there are lots of other issues,
Mm,
obviously, but just that one war is making us all think about some pretty heavy stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah. So in addition, and I kept talking about taking care of each other, make sure to take care of yourself. So that's a really
yeah,
good point, Nance. You got to take care of yourself. It's yeah, that brought up a lot of heavy things. And we're dealing with a lot of heavy things in general. So yeah, care for yourself is so important. So important.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but it was just me or whatever. But it seemed like the month of late November through December. Maybe it was more earlier November. There was a lot of passing, a lot of people, at least
Mhm.
in my life, a little bit in the public, the public eye. But there were many people that seemed to be just passing, or is this just the news? But did you notice
Mhm.
that at all? That a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
did. I think this was a tough time emotionally for a lot of people. And I think the planets sort of were making people face too much inward. And
Mhm,
Chiron right now is in Aries, and it's been kind of moving back and forth retrograde.
mhm,
But it's been sitting there for a while. And the reason why I bring that up is
mhm.
that's the wounded healer planet.
Right, right, right.
So I think if people aren't doing what they need to do, there's been this thing about, well, the only way your wound's going to be healed is if you transition. So I think that's some of the stuff that's
Oh,
coming up,
okay.
because it's in Aries, so it's the individual and it's the healing that they need to do. Mhm. So yeah, I've noticed that there's been I've hated hearing it on TV, but yeah, there's been some
Yeah.
things that have, yeah,
In my
one,
personal life, I went through 2 weeks where
mhm,
people, not that were really, really close to me, but people in my circle were just one, then another one, and then another one, and
yeah,
then another one. And I was like dumbfounded. What's going
yeah,
on?
yeah,
Maybe it's just the way life is, and I just luck of the draw, but still,
yeah,
it just felt like there was a changing of the guards, is what I thought
mhm, mhm.
in my life.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. The energy is just shifting. It's I think that's what Pluto's really doing, because that really started up last year,
Right.
2021, more into 2022. Well, I mean, we had touches of it in 2020, pandemic, hello.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that's a lot of what Pluto's just been shaking things up. Like how are people being cared for? That's another thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so things are coming out of the woodwork about that.
Yeah.
And systems that we need to look at.
the flu season is horrendous. I can't
Mm,
tell you how many people have COVID.
mm,
And it's not as, it seems to me the infection isn't as bad as it was before um,
mhm,
the inoculations, but there's another flu that's pretty,
mhm.
heavy
Oh,
duty.
yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the RSV
RSV. Yep.
with the infants. I knew a couple of
Mhm.
infants
Yeah.
that were,
Mhm.
it's so on the World Health.
Mhm.
You see anything in there with
Yeah, well, I think Saturn's gonna bring in that energy of alternatives.
mhm,
I'm not saying not to go to your regular doctor, please. You gotta go to your regular doctor. But I think that's also gonna be something around the systems, like the medical system. That's a
mhm,
system. So the insurance systems that are out there.
mhm,
So what I'm seeing there is there's gonna be some alternative ways, new ways to work with people in that, because what we have right now we know isn't working.
right.
So Saturn's looking at those systems and saying, let's wiggle that a little bit. So we're going to see some changes next year with that. And I think it will be better because Pisces is going to say, this is what's going to work for everyone. We got to think of the higher good. And Saturn's going to be like, as long as we have a system there, I'm fine with it. And that's why things are going to change.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think there's going to be new ways to be working with people. Cause like I said, right now, unfortunately, you hear about these things where people are sitting in waiting rooms for 8, 10 hours before they're even
Mhm,
seen. And I'm
mhm.
not knocking the medical industry. I know that they are short staffed and doing their
Short
absolute
staffed,
best,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
And there
but
was a
it's
shortage too of
yeah.
medicine, which is like I was like
Hmm.
dumbfounded. I've never heard of a shortage of Theraflu or aspirin or
Yeah.
anything like that. And what is that? But
Yeah.
I resources and need
Hmm.
and lack and abundance issues.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I think also, I mean, I know this is going to sound, but just guys, wash your hands. Just wash your hands. That's a big thing. My
yeah,
eyelash lady has a sign in her bathroom that says, wash your hands. No, seriously. So we all gotta
yeah,
just wash
wash
our
your hands.
hands. That'll help a
Yeah,
lot.
and
Not
put it
saying that,
on.
someone
Yeah,
should get sick. I'm not saying that, but
yeah.
I'm just, just wash your hands. That's
Please
all we
wash
gotta
your
do is
hands.
wash our
Yeah.
hands, you know?
And throw a mask on. I mean, we're already used to wearing it. You got something, you got a little fever going on. You say, "Oh, I don't have COVID. I won't wear a mask." Just wear a mask.
Mhm.
Save somebody
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
catching what you have, and
Yeah.
you don't know who you're. We've
Right.
become more in this country more aware of germs, washing your hands, and wearing masks and stuff than we have been. And I've seen other countries wear masks
Mhm.
and be a little more conscientious of that. And I feel like
Yeah.
let's still not forget to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taking care of each other. Here we go. We're back to that, taking care of
Taking
each other.
care of each
So,
other. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And yourself.
yeah.
And yourself. You never
And
know.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think next year is going to be a lot of innovation and just remember just to hold on for the ride, honestly. And if there's things that you need to work on, if you can, work on them
We're
because it's
gone.
just going to make
Yeah,
things so much better just for you and everyone else. So, that's
yeah.
the big message. Just what you know is not what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the famous thing? It's not what I thought it was. It's like, here
No,
I am. And
exactly.
it wasn't. I was like, I'm totally, where's the thing I was expecting? But
That's true.
it's here. It's just not what you thought it was. Okay.
So,
So we're looking forward to 2023.
mhm.
It's, I was kind of looking forward to this, talking to you about this because of the difficulties we had each year. There's been like, oh, these things looming us. And now we have some really good things coming forward. It's
Yeah.
about plodding through and
Mm.
sticking to it, doing your work, but it's good stuff.
It's good
So
stuff. It really is. I think it's going
yeah.
to help us sort out what's important and what's not important in our lives, which is
Hmm,
a
hmm.
good thing. Wisdom,
Absolutely.
wisdom,
Oh, that old pesky wisdom, such a
that
wise
old
guy.
pesky wisdom.
Yeah. It's like, be a wise guy. Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, it's so nice having you again, Mary. We'll have to do
yes,
this. I
yes.
know, guys, Mary's going to an amazing program, going to school. It's a ministerial program. It's um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there she is studying to how to serve people even better. So,
Thank you.
but I'm really very excited. So keep an eye on Mary, and we'll have
Mm,
you back when you can come back and
I would love to.
you share your wisdom. And you always have wonderful things
Mhm.
to give us. And I'm always happy. I feel like I do the show just for me. So
I'm happy to be here. Thank you. And I hope it helped folks out there. Someone asked in the chat, Gail asked if there was any big disasters.
right.
Yeah, she has a daughter in Japan and another in California. Um, I would say, if we're gonna see it, probably over the summer, there's some movement with the north and south nodes. So we might see some, something watery around that time. It would be more of like mid-July, somewhere in there. But I would say, like, when I tune into it psychically, I feel like there's going to be a buildup and then it's not going to be what we think it's going to be. Um, so I'm not sure if just the weather models are wrong or whatever happens. So I think it doesn't turn out to be as big as we think it's going to be. I'll say it that way. So be on guard, but just know I think there's something that's amiss about the way that they predict what's going to happen in this
Okay.
major thing. So I feel like we got a warning, like, hurricane, tornado kind of thing. We get a warning about this, but it doesn't turn out as bad as we think it is. So
Okay.
it'll be
That's
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm
Oh,
gonna I think we're gonna wrap it
we're
down
good.
now. I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you thank you for listening to Mary and I talk about what's coming up next year. I want to remind you guys, marydalba.com, or just Google Mary Dalba. She's everywhere. And look her up, read her website and see what she has to offer. And if you find something, call her. Definitely reach out. I love having people on the show, and they're always available to everyone to talk. And I'm also available at angelscapes.net, because nobody can Google Nancy Smith ever. And I did that
Yeah.
once. I put a Google alerts for anytime Nancy Smith came into the news. And I've been in jail several times. I've died several times.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I've been at large.
Yeah.
I
You
was
lived quite a life, Nancy.
quite a like, but Angelscapes. So look up Angelscapes, you'll find me. And so we're here to help, guys. We're here to help you learn and grow and make your way through life on a spiritual path, and on kind of a alternative, looking at things a little bit differently than what you are, so that you get the best out of life possible. And so I'm gonna say till next time,
Mhm.
and take care and have a wonderful new year, and look at 2023 with your eyes wide open, ready to roll up your sleeves and get to work, and it'll be awesome.
Mhm.
So thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.